Welcome back to FELSBRUNN on Farming Simulator 19 for episode 8 with me, MrSealyp. That's right people, I'm back on FELSBRUNN. I was asked a question the other day, am I continuing with the FELSBRUNN Let's Play? My response was, I am. I want to finish it. The problem I have at the moment is, usually, let's say usually, when I was on FS17, I would normally run 2 Let's Plays at the same time. One would be a kind of Let's Play for me, in so much as it was just me playing the game and, you know, explaining why I was doing things, that kind of thing. Then I would run one which was more of a narrative, a story, which would be kind of made up, and then generally speaking I would throw in subscriber contracts and that kind of thing. And as I've already mentioned, that's going to be a bit trickier to do at the moment. And I kind of started off this one with trying to do a bit of a narrative, hoping that the subscriber contract thing I could pick up fairly quickly and could kind of get on with it. And then I chucked a load of hours into Ravenport to try and get that off the ground because I was really struggling. And this kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. So to be honest with you, 100% honest, I'm struggling a little bit to work out the best way to go, simply because I don't want to repeat the same things all the time, but unfortunately we're going to have to until there are a lot of new mods out and you can pick and choose between, you know, various bits of machinery. Unfortunately, when you're starting out, you are limited to the smaller stuff, and without taking out massive bank loans or cheating with your money and that kind of thing. I have got different machinery on this, some different machinery, some not. I've got sheep on this. Obviously on my Ravenport map I've got the cows, so there are some differences, and obviously the scenery and all that kind of thing is different. However, I've had something of a mishap. I came on here and thought, you know what, let's do an episode, get an episode done, and I couldn't remember where I'd got to. So I've just come from field 15 where we planted sunflower. That's the one over by the coast, and the sunflower's in the ground. In the last episode we bought this new seeder, I believe was what we did. I believe so, which is fantastic. Actually, I've got to be careful where I park that because I don't want to get in the way of the mower. But I also had that big mishap with the potato harvest, the episode before that. So I came on thinking, okay, right, I'll move the equipment back, I'll have a look at it, I might have to do a few contracts, that kind of thing. And I've been doing a lot of contracts on Ravenport. But like I say, we've had something of a mishap. If you look in the top right hand corner, we're down to minus 42,000 euros. That's better. The reason being, when I did the potato harvest, I forgot to complete the contract. So I went in to look at contracts available, and it was sitting there on the sort of the finish screen. So I thought, oh, I can't believe it. So I clicked on complete. Problem was, it said missing crops minus 55,000. Now I had loads of people say, I think this is probably before the update, saying, oh yeah, it says that, you know, because people were doing that dodgy, they were doing contracts, but then putting stuff into their silos, then failing the contracts and keeping the crop. And people saying, oh yeah, it says on there it charges you for the missing crop, but it doesn't. It really does. So I got charged 55,000 for the missing potatoes on that harvest. So I'm struggling. So I've been on the phone, to my accountant. Remember my accountant from the early episodes? We've got to downsize. We have no option. We've got to downsize. We need some money. So we're downsizing. The house has got to go. So we've got to work out how we're going to do that. We have downsized somewhat. So there we go. That's our new house. I don't suppose you can place a little shed or shelter over the top of them, can you? But anyway, we have downsized and we're now up to 131,000. So that's not too bad. We've got out of debt. We've got a nice big area for placing other things. We could put another barn down maybe at some point when we've got more vehicles. So there we go. We have downsized. We've done what we needed to do. Now I need to work out how to proceed. The sheep are still producing wool and the pallets are filling up, which is fantastic. We had a little bit of seed left over from the extra pallet I had to buy because I had one strip left on field 15. So I had to go and get another pallet, took it down with the telehandler, and it only used about, I don't know, 500 litres of it, something like that. So the seeder itself has got some seed and fertiliser left in it too, which is all wonderful. So I don't know what to do now for the best. I was going to go and buy a bigger cultivator. That's why I left this sat over there, because I was going to drive that over and get a slightly larger cultivator. At the moment, that's probably not the best use of funds, but I will do at some point. So yeah, so let's have a look. What have we got available contract wise? Now I did think on this Let's Play I could have a nice MrSealyp and an evil MrSealyp. Not evil, but you know. And I could do the field flipping and stuff on this map, you know, the one people don't necessarily like doing it, but on the other map I'm not doing it, absolutely not doing contracts. On this one I thought about maybe doing field flipping to build the money up, you know, to show the contrast in the two different ways of doing it. So I suppose I could do that. There's quite a few fields that need harvesting, and I have got my harvester, although some of them are quite big fields, but when I get the crop off them, that would be worth its weight in gold, wouldn't it? So yeah, I might do that. I know this is kind of the evil series. What's that one? Field 12. That's going to be a big field, isn't it? Just by looking by the equipment they give you. Where's field 12? Yeah, that's huge. One's on field 6. That's huge as well. And with my harvester, that's going to take quite some time. Although the payout would be... So this is what I don't get. Look, we've got weeds on half and not on the other half, and that's that thing where they kind of spread across the map gradually, and for some reason on FELSBRUNN we seem to get this line, and it does half the map and then a few minutes later it flips over and does the rest, so it's very odd. I don't know, but I've got weeds turned off again because they just drive me mad. Problem is as well, to do a field flip on something like field 6, how much is the value of the land? 853,000. The bank's not going to let me borrow that, is it? Not even close. Oh, I keep coming out of that menu. What else is available? Oh, big decisions. We could start on a smaller one, couldn't we, I suppose? That's cotton, which means I'd have to hire a cotton harvester. Field 8. Where's field 8? That's a bit better. I think we can deal with that. How much is that worth? 331. So we have to borrow some money. Quite a bit of money. Let's go a little bit past just to make sure. I've done it again. Why do I keep coming out of that menu? Okay. Buy. Yes. So, I know it's not the done thing, but let's show a bit of a contrast. And it'll be interesting to see, from my perspective. I think once a new mod map comes out, that'll make life a lot easier, because you can, you know, it's a whole different experience and vibe. Because a lot of people, you know, I say a lot of people, everybody is playing on the 3 maps that we get with the game, and very, very quickly, especially if you put a lot of hours into them, people want to see something different. And as you start getting new mod maps come out, people that are making their videos, YouTubers that are doing various different things, not only do they bring their own style to the game, they will all tend to pick different maps, and you know, so it gives a bit more variety. And I think that's the problem at the moment, which was the same on 17. It's hard to make it different, you know. So that's why I think, yeah, 2 contrasting styles of play on the 2 different maps. So I'm going to head over to field 8. I'll see you in a moment. This will have to be a time lapse or something, because it's going to take a little while with this harvester. So I made an executive decision the executive decision was not to go and do field 8. I've decided I've come over to field 27, which isn't actually too far from the farm. It's got canola, oilseed rape, I believe, in it. So that's what I'm going to do first. There is a reason why it's not just an executive decision of, you know what, it's closer, blah blah blah. I got over to field 8 and realised it was a cornfield. I didn't actually check the crop before I bought the field. It's got corn in it, and I haven't got a corn header at the moment. I could have leased one, and it would have been a bit of backwards and forwards, but I thought, while I'm on the way back, I'd check the map properly, because as you... Actually, let's just work on that a second. No, that's not that funny angle. Yeah, I was on soil composition, because I was showing you about the weeds, and looked at field 8 because it was in the contracts, and didn't even think to check... firstly growth, but it was ready to harvest, that's fine. But then looking at the fruit types, yeah, it was corn, so I haven't got a corn header. There are a lot of fields on this map that are ready to harvest, which is good because it means I can bounce around a bit. However, look at the amount of fields that have got the old removed tops. So if we go to fruit types, oh, that's because it's showing, yeah, we've got sugar beet and potatoes mixed in amongst all those. Although we've got cotton on field 14. Oh, that's been harvested, that's no good. And I haven't actually been up here yet, so I suppose what we could do, we could get up there maybe. How much are these plots here? 277. It is interesting that some of the plots, you do really well out of them. You get a big field and you might have some grass around it, might have some trees around it, that kind of thing. Some plots you've got just a load of mountainside, or you've got bits you can't do a thing with, and the plot itself is actually quite expensive because of that. Sorry, super chatting. But anyway, yeah, I can imagine this is going to get a, you know, this is probably going to get a lot of dislikes because of the whole field clipping thing. And as far as the downsizing bit, there's a thing called the tiny house movement sort of happening around the world at the moment, where people are downsizing, they're getting rid of all their clutter, and they're realising that a big expensive house and that kind of materialistic wealth doesn't really actually gain you anything. And when you actually go around your house and look at all the stuff you've got, all the things you collect, and I'm terrible for it. I mean, I've got my massive tractor collection, I've got shelves full of books, most of which I've read, but probably won't read again, you know, and you buy knickknacks and all various different things. You stop and you think, actually, if you got rid of all of this and you had just your bare necessities, the things you need to live, one, you could downsize massively, save yourself a fortune in fuel, like electricity bills, gas bills, you know, all those kind of things. You wouldn't have that clutter and that hassle and aggro. And I think the tiny house movement, for it to be classified as a tiny house, it has to be less than 500 square feet, which actually is, when you think about it, that's very, very small. I don't know if my deck chairs qualify, because they're not actually a building, are they really? They are less than 500 square feet though. So I suppose they must technically come under it. But yeah. So yeah, tiny house movement, that's what we're doing. Like I say, it's difficult because I kind of got caught up in on Ravenport, and you know, when you start seeing that you're actually making progress, and you start to get somewhere, and I think that's why I struggled at the start when to sort of not get into FS19, but I have mentioned it before. It was hard because you weren't getting anywhere, and once you do start to get somewhere, when that balance tips and you do start to make a bit more money and you do start to get slightly larger machinery and you do speed up your process, that's when it becomes a lot more addictive. And I think, like I said, when I finished on Farming Simulator 17, moving over to 19, it's going to be hard because it's going to be a big reset for everybody. Absolutely it will be. And you forget how tricky it was at the start with the lack of mods and that kind of thing. So then when you do get that kind of that tipping point, you just want to keep going. Well, I do, I know, and that's my OCD, you know, it's a bit, you know, it's just, I just do just one more contract, then I'll go to bed. Just do one more. And if you play Farming Simulator like I do, and there are a lot of you out there, I know there are, we're all the same. You can't help it. You enjoy playing it, and it's, well, you know, it's not going to hurt, is it? Just one more. I know when I first started playing the game on Farming Simulator 15, and myself and my daughter would stay up late during the school summer holidays and that kind of stuff, and we'd be watching Daggerwing videos and learning how to play the game, and the amount of hours we would put in, and you'd be, you know, turning fields, and you'd go again and go again and go again, and it'd be like 3-4 in the morning. I'd suddenly look up and think, oh blimey, it's that time, I better go to bed, you know. So yeah, I'll see you at the end, I think. This is going to take a little while, so I'll see you in a bit, and we'll see what we end up with, I think. So here's the thing, I was given a piece of advice while that's harvesting. I can't remember who it was that gave me this piece of advice. It was a little while ago, and I read it and thought, oh, that's you know, it's interesting, but because on my Ravenport Let's Play I wasn't doing it, and now I'm kind of, because I'm MrSealyp's evil twin, what they said was, if you are doing field flipping and you are using a field and you've bought the plot and you're going to sell it back again, you might as well maximise your profit off that plot of land. So what they suggested was cutting the grass, baling and wrapping, and then selling the silage bales as well. And I'd never really considered it until now. So what I'm going to do, the plot around it, I'm going to cut the grass, I'm going to buy a baler wrapper as a new expansion to the farm, and then what we'll do is we'll bale and wrap, collect, so whatever we make off the crop will be one part of it. And just bear in mind as well, if you are watching this and you don't agree with the field flipping thing, I know a lot of people are hitting dislike because they don't necessarily agree with something you're doing in the you know, whatever. But this again is showing a different way of tackling the same problem. How do you make money? And there are people out there that are playing the game and they are doing this. They are field flipping there, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, if this is another way of kind of maximising what you're making off this particular plot, this particular field. Cut the grass. Now I could get a windrower and windrow it and then bale and wrap it, but that's the whole point really. I think starting off I'll probably just go up and down with the baler wrapper, and then once I've made a little bit more money I'll get a windrower, and then when I do this on every plot I do it on, you're getting a bit of a double whammy. It depends what you're going to get for the bales. Now I'm not going to try and sell these to the BGA, because to buy the BGA is going to cost me about 900 million trillion dollars, euros. So these will be sold at the barn. and the barn is just up by the animal dealership, which is just around the corner there, so it will actually work out okay. Now I can't remember how far out this plot goes. We've got to watch out. We've already lost a sign somehow there. Oh, that'll be the harvester. Yes, it's not letting me not put any grass down. Oh, and another one. Oh, there you go, big old pile there. Fantastic. I do like the way that the traffic stops now for the machinery, and then once it's turned and passed and off it goes, it moves on again. I think it's quite clever. There you go, yeah, off he goes again. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Whoa, 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 whoa! That was a bit aggressive driving. I'll have to move this trailer in a minute. So we've got this plot runs out to the side of the road here, but obviously this bit goes a bit funny. I might have to come at this the other way, I think. Otherwise I'm going to disappear like that. We don't want to be doing that, do we? But we'll utilise what we can. So let's just... isn't it funny? You've got to fold it first before you can detach it. Well, that's funny, it makes no difference really. And the good thing about the since the update, because you kind of technically you flatten the grass rather than drive over it and destroy it, it does mean you haven't got to put row crops on and that kind of thing for doing the grass work, which is a bit more helpful. So what's going to be interesting for me personally anyway, it's kind of almost a test. The turning circle on this Fiat is not fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, what I'm thinking is going to be more fascinating for me, because I like doing my tests and those kind of things, will be to see if the progression is far quicker doing it this way. I'd imagine it's going to be. I'm still technically kind of doing contracts, but doing them for myself, so all of the payout will come to... yeah. Will come to me rather than you getting a percentage of it. And I suppose that's why it's a little bit dodgy in it, but and I'm assuming in the same amount of time frame that I spent on Ravenport doing contracts, I can make a lot more money on this one. So like I say, it's just going to be a test really to see the difference between the kind of doing it properly and fairly and doing it potentially a little bit underhand, I guess. What the difference is going to be. Long-term testing, that's what I'm calling it. How well it goes, I don't know. And I suppose the thing about this is, as far as it goes as a let's play, it's going to be a case of, you know, will I make progress, how quickly move up through the machinery, which I'm assuming is going to move up a lot quicker than it does on Ravenport. And then, you know, we'll see what happens when a new map comes out about kind of choosing the correct way forward, you know, the way that we should be doing it really. Right, I'm going to continue this, I'm going to cut all this, and I'm going to get the baler wrapper and let's get some of this wrapped. Now I'm thinking I probably need to do a little bit of maintenance on both actually. The tractor does seem to be down a little bit. Oh, that's going to require opening, isn't it? Of course it is. Before I can put it down. I've been doing all the maintenance on the vehicles on Ravenport, but oh, it had to be like that, didn't it? I was in the right position anyway. I haven't really been showing myself doing it. I just sort of do it off screen whenever it needs doing. That needs a little bit of repair, nothing major. €10. Move that out of the way. See the tractor in, so that's going to need a little bit more, I think. Our soybean crop is still growing rather nicely. Which is good to see. Oh, 78, that's not too bad. But at least it's done, that's the main thing. I keep forgetting this thing's got 150 horsepower. So I'm thinking, oh, I'll have to sort out getting the Baler wrapper. And I think the Baler wrapper only needs 140. That said, when you get onto a hill, you're going to be using a lot of the horsepower on the baler, and the tractor's going to suffer, unless, of course, you bale downhill, which is the other way of doing it. So it looks like we're done over there. Let's drop that down. Okay. So the best price for this at the moment is Port Northwest. That's where we're heading. Well, we're there actually now, but that's not bad. 36,395. Not bad at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this back. We'll go and buy the baler wrapper, get the bales done, see how many bales we get off that as well, and we'll get those sold and see how we've done off that field. Now I totally understand windrowing would make this process a lot quicker and easier, and that'll be the next thing I buy when I've got enough money to. So we've kind of eaten into the loan a little bit. We'll see what we make on these bales, because if all that happens is we come out of this one episode, this one job, with a Baler wrapper. I thought these were a lot more expensive. It was 370. It was 76,000. I thought they were way more than that. Don't know why. I just had it in my head they were 100 and something thousand, but well, probably lease the Ursus. No. So Ursus, I'm trying to think. The bale collector. Is it T127? Something like that, isn't it? Actually, this isn't doing too bad uphill. Well, no, it's only going at 5, but it's better than I thought it would. With the 10 horsepower it has spare. So what I am going to do, once I've turned the corner up here, it doesn't like that very much. I'm going to try to unload them as much as I can, crossways rather than, I don't want them going downhill. It's probably going to roll anyway and disappear off. There we go. Goodbye bale. We'll have to collect them later on, wherever they end up. I've gone on a bale hunt. So, I'll do the same with this. I did a load on Ravenport, and you know, doing bales I'm sure you've probably seen before. So what I'll do is do as much as I can on this. We'll work out how many bales we've got left. We'll take them to the barn, we'll sell them, and see how we end up. Hopefully we'll do alright. This is horrendous. This is not how you would you would be damaging all sorts of parts of these. Needs must. So I leased the Ursus T127 bale stacker, bale collector, whatever you want to call it. That was about 1,300 and something. We made 10 bales off that field, or the edges of that field anyway. This is the barn. Where's the barn? Is that here? Yeah. Hope this was worth it. We're about to find out anyway. $19,468 for 8 bales. Is that good or not? I'm trying to think, what does that work out per bale? Not quite 20 grand. It's not fantastic. But I suppose it's another 19 grand for the periphery of a field, isn't it, I suppose? On top of the 38 we already made for the crop off of it. So you're looking at, with these 2 bales I'm about to pick up, not far off 60 grand off that one field, and that's not a particularly big field either. It's not, you know, doesn't cover the 76 I just spent on the what do you call it, the baler wrapper, but one more job like that and it absolutely will. I mean, if I field flipped one of the grass fields, I think 30 or 31 is a grass field, isn't it? Sure it is. Yeah, field 30 is a grass field, and just did all of that silage bales. Oh, there goes the road sign again. Okay, last two. And there we go. 4,867. So that puts each bale at about 2,430. That's pretty good. Actually, that is pretty good. I'm not knocking that. So, we've done alright. What I need to do now is, in the correct menu, we need to go back to field 27. Click on that. Sell it. Puts our money back up to that, but obviously that's not all of ours. So what I could do now is, if I pay off the loan, work out what we actually have left of ours. Mind you, did I have a loan already? We must have done, because if I pay all that off, that will leave us negatively. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I'll have to check and see how much we borrowed then, aren't I? But what I'm going to do now, obviously, that money now that's sitting there in the bank, that will be used for the next field, and so on and so on. I'm going to still intermix that with contracts as well. So what I can do is have a worker working on a contract while I work on a field, and kind of work my way through like that. So we can be doing a bit of a double whammy as we go. Like I said earlier on, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I wanted to look at doing this second Let's Play in a slightly different way. And that's kind of it for the time being, you know. If it doesn't go down particularly well, people aren't liking it, and, you know, I get a lot of grief, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. You know, at the end of the day, I play it whatever way I want to play it. If people don't want to watch it, that's, you know, that's up to them. The Ravenport Let's Play will continue. And we'll see how we go from there. But that wasn't too bad. That was quite productive. I'm pleased with that. And what will probably happen is, when you start flipping fields like that, as you start making a bit more money, there's no reason at all why you then can't come back and actually buy that plot for yourself. So there's a kind of long-term thing to it as well. So the farmer will make out of it in the end. That's what I'm going with. So I hope you found this episode enjoyable in some way, shape or form. I don't know if you have or not. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you want to share this video, then please be my guest, whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.